Hi, welcome to this video. I'm Lyndsay Savage Lamb. We're going to be using quite a few props for today. Just notice the props that we use. I'll just point them out so that you can go and grab some before we start the video. Just substitute for different props that suit or decide not to use some of the props. This is definitely something that should be personalized for your own sort of needs as they call up. So the first thing we'll be using will be these blocks. So just go and grab a couple of this size of block if you'd like, or you could substitute it for what we're going to be using to have some like big pillows under your arms. So go choose something like that. I have these round balls that we'll be rolling on. You could go and grab some round balls that will have a bit of a purchase for the hand and the arm so that we can roll as moving into some side angles. Also, an option is this spinal strip. We'll be using this in the hand fold. So if you've been doing some of the videos with me, that's going to be the hand fold that we'll be using for our between the shoulder blades at the spine. And then just an option is to have some weights. These ones are 5 pound weights. You could use any size or heaviness of weight or none at all. Of course, really depends on what's going on with your shoulders. Do not push. I know I say that all the time, but I really I want to emphasize that. We'll also be using some balls. You could use tennis balls or you could use these, which are lacrosse balls. If you want them to be softer, you could also use the Sensi ball, which is this one right here. So we could use that kind of a size of ball when we put them at the spine. And then at the end, we'll be using this rounded bolster. You could use a rolled mat with a blanket rolled over it. It's just something that creates a nice curve with a bit of softness. It's going to come underneath the ribs for another side angle. Okay, so let's just start by sitting, having a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. Noticing the sense of sitting. What's that involved? Are you able to notice the sitting bones, the two bones coming down the bottom of the pelvis? Can you feel the left and the right sitting bone? Feel it in their downness into the ground or the support you're on. Checking to see that the thighs can be quite relaxed. And it's like a kind of combing, like you're unfurling or combing out the muscles that are in the groin, allowing this to just release and relax down, if not, put some support underneath. And then to further that kind of yielding or downness into the ground, let's see if we can relax the abdomen. So the belly relaxes forward and to the sides and to the back at the lumbar spine, developing a nice nest, allowing the arms to become heavy. And so where are the points that we can allow heaviness? Maybe we know there's heaviness if the elbows are swinging or like with a kind of a weighted feeling. So let's just see if we can allow the elbows to feel heavy. The hands are still. When you breathe in the belly, it just expands naturally, and then it might move all the way up into the rib cage, into the front and the back and the sides. Doing a body scan or an assessment of what does it feel like in the shoulders? What does it feel like in the upper back? What does it feel like in the neck? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you notice. And then let's just slowly take the backs of the fingers to the side ribs. And it's to the side ribs, it's fairly close to the armpits if you can reach that, if you have that accessible to your hands and your wrists and to your shoulders to make it come up that high, or just do your best. It might end up being a bit lower. So you have the hands, and there's a bit of a meeting of energy. So you feel a slight leaning of the fingers into the ribs. Just build the awareness of the feelings of the backs of the fingers to the ribs as you inhale and as you exhale. The eyes can be open or closed. With the next inhalation, let's do this in about 3 sips of breathing. So let's inhale into the side ribs, widening them. Continue the inhalation a bit more, widening them. Continuing the inhalation a little more, widening them into the fingers, and then just exhale and feel them come back in towards each other. Let's find this again. Inhale, more, more, and then exhale. So just continue to find your own rhythm of a sipping kind of breath. Perhaps you can do a 3 second count to inhale and maybe even a pause of 3 seconds. And then continue for more 3 seconds, pause for more 3 seconds, inhale again for 3 seconds, and then let it all come down. So it's like a style of Viloma breathing. So just make it your own at your own rhythm, feeling the wideness at the side ribs, feeling the feedback of the wideness as it leans into your hands. Two more. This is my last round. And when you do come to your next exhalation, just let your hands come down and just sit and notice, what does breathing feel like now? Okay, good. Open your eyes if they're closed. Reach over to take the blocks. This is not an exact science, so we're just going to do our best getting them to come underneath the arms and into the armpits as much as you can. And then the arms come down and they dangle and they're heavy. So the arms are holding them in place. Just make an adjustment. Sometimes we have one shoulder that's not as easy to move. So you maybe want to put it in that one first, or just test to see which one good's going to be your easiest one. So now let's just do a breath where we inhale wide into those blocks. Feel the draping quality of the muscles at the sides of the neck. So you've inhaled wide, pause. Continue to feel the draping at the sides of the neck, and then exhale, let them come in towards each other as they come down. Inhale wide, pause, exhale. You'll see that the hands aren't tense with this. Inhale wide and exhale. Now, the next time we inhale wide, do this. Keep them wide and exhale. Continue. Inhale wide. Keep them wide. Exhale, narrowing the channel more like a funnel of the torso. Inhale wide. Keep them wide. Exhale. And then release and release. So just feel what that feels like to breathe now. So let the arms relax or soften. Let the elbows be heavy. And what does it feel like now to be your arms and your shoulders and your relationship with your shoulder blades to the rib cage? Good. After your assessment, you can open your eyes, reach over for your ball or some sort of thing that could roll. Let's place it over here. This is on my right. Change up how your legs are crossed if that makes more sense because you've been sitting like that for a while. Or you can also just change them up any way that suits. But we're moving into a side, so you just need to be stable enough for that. So take the right hand onto the ball and then bring this left arm around. Palm faces the ground and let's just roll it out. And you just come to a place where both uh, sides of the pelvis on the ground, like both sitting bones, are still down in the ground. And then use your rib cage to lift to come up. Switch sides. So on the left for me, bring this right arm around with the palm facing the ground. Roll out to the side on the left, rounding the waist. It's this convex upper and a bit concave at the lower side of the ribs. And you'll feel it all the way from the top of your hip bone through the waist to the ribs to the shoulder blade. Use the ribs to pull you up and come back down. Other side again. Rolling it out to this right side. And just see what that feels like. Armpits a little forward and a little up. See if that's possible or if that makes sense. So instead of snugged back, it's a little forward and a little up. Ribs to pull you up. Coming, other side. Let's go over. Roll it out. Feeling the heaviness in the sitting bones or the downness of the sitting bones. Rounding the ribs a little. Rounding the waist a little bit. Feeling some tension, some sort of just tugging or a wake up call. Use the ribs to pull you up and come back out. Pause. Move the balls to the side and just have a moment of sitting and noticing what does it feel like now to be your ribs? Okay, good. After the assessment, open your eyes if they were closed. Let's roll out of this position. So I'm moving my blanket and the block over to the side. And I'm going to lay on my back first to just do an assessment of how does it feel to be on the ground. So have your spinal strip and your weights, if you're using them, right beside you, just coming down on your back. Have your knees bent. Have a moment. Where do you want your hands? Do they need to be on the belly? Does that feel like right action? Do they want to be out at the sides? A moment to assess the imprint of the body into the ground. What does it feel like in your pelvis or your feet, shoulders, ribs, head, the arms? Where is a comfortable expansion of breathing in? And what does it feel like when you exhale? Learning through contrast. And we'll just roll over to the side. Support yourself to come up. Take your spinal strip. Your head's going to be on the strip, just as a reminder. So we'll fold this into the hand fold. So make that measurement and then have it at the ready. I know some people have been using an elastic to hold it in place. So if they have kind of an awkward time of shifting around or finding that thoracic and it starts to shift all out, people have put an elastic band around the hand fold just to keep it clamped down. So let's take a few moments to be here. So we have that the shoulder blades are on either side, and we have the strip on the spine. And you can just feel maybe the shoulder blades having a relationship with the sides of the spinal strip. Stay here and breathe for a few minutes if you can. If you've been here for a couple of breaths and you feel like there's sort of a jarring feeling in the back of the neck, well, then you can reach over and grab a block and have this block underneath your hips. So this is a back bend position, and sometimes it's too much if you need to kind of steady out some of it, but it's still a bit of a back bend in this region up here in the upper back, and also with the shoulders opening out to the sides. So put some sort of support in here. Even just a blanket folded is sometimes enough. Continue to pause and notice. If you're going to use some weights, reach for those now. Take them into your hands and see if it can feel like your hands are over the shoulders or the top of the arms. See if they have that kind of a style of alignment. And just pause and allow weight to come down. So the arms are heavier and it's pushing the shoulder blades down a little bit more and you have more feedback. If we like that feedback, stay here for a few more breaths. Now, noticing the feedback, and you can feel how this is the area where the shoulder blades go down and they move towards the spine or they move towards the strip. Let's see if we can, from the muscles around the fronts of the shoulders, move the weights up towards the ceiling. So now we feel that the shoulder blades have moved away from the spinal strip. See about that? Come up. And then from the shoulder blades, let that start to drop, and you feel the arms become heavy and down again. And then moving from what muscles are the appropriate muscles, like the just right muscles to lift and move the shoulder blades away from the spine and up towards the ceiling with the hands. And then just feel the sense of coming back down. Pause. But just notice that we're not gripping the weights, but we're not going to let them fall. So I don't want you to be all tense through the arms. Possibly we can really feel the muscles around the shoulder, the top of the humerus bone and the shoulder blades. Notice those muscles more. Now let's just do one more to the ceiling. So feel what muscles around there bring your arms towards the ceiling. And what muscles kind of slow it down, and what muscles guide the shoulder blades down. Okay, let's just take the weights off to the side. Have another moment of feeling yourself on the strip. And then just roll over to the side enough that you can remove the spinal strip, take that over to the side, and come down. Noticing through contrast, what do your shoulder blades feel like, and what do your ribs feel like? Does anything shift in your relation to the to the pelvis or the feet or the legs? We don't know. Okay. We're going to use the balls underneath. Now we're going to have a couple different positions. So I'll show you, of course, I'm wearing a dark shirt and I've got dark balls here, but we'll see if we can see where I'm placing them. So the first position is going to be above the shoulder blades. So if my shoulder blade is down here, it's coming just above it. So in that kind of meaty flesh that for me gets a bit gristle held. So just you might want to place them here and here. And then the next position is going to be just further down beside the spine, not on the bones, but just beside the spine. And then this third position is going to be a little lower. And then the fourth is going to be near the bottom of the shoulder blades. So just feel your shoulder blades right now. Are you able to take a hand? I don't know if you can reach your shoulder blades and feel that you have shoulder blades and that they move in the direction to the spine. See about that kind of a thing. So they move and they move. So you can feel them kind of coming in. All right. So just know where they are, and let's just see how we do with the balls. We'll do some arm movements while we're here as well. So take them into the first position. So it's just above the shoulder blade. Now, for me, what really works is if I take my hips up off the ground. This also adds a lot of weight onto these. So that might be appropriate. It also might not be appropriate, so just see what it is like for you. If you have your bums on the ground, that might be just perfect. Also, if you need to put a block under your head, do that. Okay, so we're here. We're on that first spot. Bring the arms up. And let's just take the arms overhead, just to where they can go. And then bring them back up and down towards your sides with the palms facing down. Coming back up, palms still facing away. Let's just take them out to the sides and back up and then come down. Release the balls, have a moment. Okay, so I need to move a little bit away from the wall behind me for the next position. So we're going to take them now to the spot that's just a little bit lower, and it's going to be again, it's between the shoulder blades and beside the spine. Bring the arms up. Decide where your hips are going to be. We'll go overhead with the arms. Now, once we're here, take the fingertips towards the wall behind your head. And then neutral. Come back up, arms down by your sides, and move the fingertips towards your heels or the wall behind your feet. And neutral. Come back up. Take the arms out wide to the side, lengthen out, and rotate one palm up and one down. Rotate another palm up and just keep alternating a few more times. One up and one down, one up and one down, and then both up and release. Move a little bit higher up on or move the balls lower down. Bring the arms up, overhead. Lengthen to the ceiling, keeping the ribs snugged in a little bit, just like a heaviness on the ribs. Come in and up, down towards parallel to your torso. Anchor the arms down towards your feetish area and release. Come back up, out to the side, and rotate one up, one down, and the other, and the other, and the other, and both up and down. Take your seat down if you're up. Move it to this third position. Bring your hips up if you are. Hands come up. Overhead. Lengthen. Heaviness in ribs. Neutral. Come back up. Take the arms down parallel to the torso. Move the fingertips towards the wall behind the feet. Neutral. Come up with the arms out to the side. One palm up, one down, and rotate. And you're lengthening out to the fingertips, and you might feel a nerve tensioning. And so that's usually quite normal because we have these nerves that are kind of bound. So it's like a flossing that we're doing. So see if it feels like flossing. If it feels like wrong electric, don't do it. Okay, one more. And neutral arms. And come into the fourth position. So this is going to be more to the bottom of the shoulder blades. Come up with your hips if that's what you're doing. Fingertips to sky, then overhead. Lengthen the arms away. Neutral. Come up, down by your feet. Anchor the fingertips to the wall behind your feet. Neutral. Arms up, out to the side. Spread the fingers and rotate and rotate and lengthen. So you're feeling that the arms are moving out of the sockets. You're spreading out with the fingers, flossing around in through the nerves in a way where it feels like it. And then pause and just make a little bit more of a roll if that feels appropriate. Come out, move the balls to the side. Come back down and just like really wonder about learning through contrasts now. What does this feel like? What does breathing feel like? What does the mind feel like? Thinking about the mind as the pervasive mind, which is really the mind and the body. Does it feel like a unified sense? Now, this is just a lovely place to be, and it may be where you wish to end this practice, feeling like you've done enough for the arms and for the shoulders. And you could just pause this video and go into your Shavasana. Also, you may wish to add a few more components to it, which is what we're going to do here now. So roll over and come up. And here's just one more thing that I want to show you with a way of releasing some of the tension that might be between the shoulder blades. And that's with using this one ball, the Sensi ball. So it's just going to go on the spine. So it's a soft ball. So I'm not putting anything hard right there now. So it's going to have this, you can see how it has some press, right? So that's going to come onto my thoracic spine between my shoulder blades, and I'm going to use the weights again with this. So it just takes a little to get it into that position. So you can feel if you reach over to take the weights, you could feel that you've got it in position because your shoulder blades kind of lean into it a little bit like when they're leaning into the spinal strip. So just stay here for a couple breaths, holding the weights or not. Bums are down, or you can also take your seat up into the sky, and that adds a little bit more weight. See that you don't make a big back bend with your lower back. Just feel the sitting bones and the backs of the thighs engaging so that we just come up into just an easy low bridge. Everything drapes off this easy low bridge. And then just shimmy a little bit. So if your seat is up, you can feel yourself moving towards the wall behind you and towards the wall by your feet. So that kind of a massage on that thoracic spine. If your seat is down, you can still push your feet and allow that kind of nodding to happen with your head and your neck. and that massage on the thoracic spine. But also, it's like this massage that's happening on the sides of the shoulder blades, which often get kind of a stuck feeling. And it really affects how you breathe as well. Okay, have your moment with this. Find your pause. And then release, moving the weights to the side, moving the Sensi ball to the side, and just have this other moment of pausing. Okay, roll over so that you can come up. Let's test a few things. Let's test to see what does it feel like to have um, this kind of feeling in the ribs and in the shoulder blades. What's it going to feel like to come into downward facing dog? So tucking the toes under and feeling that the hands are in their perfect position. Hips come back, drop the head, widen the side ribs, just like you did when you had the blocks in them. Pause here. See that the elbows are soft and they're kind of hanging. And we don't have much weight in the hands, but they're perfectly positioned. And then keeping the width at the sides of the ribs, start to lean the heels of the palms simultaneously with the toes and toe mounds. And just use that to slowly build to come to the hips coming to the sky. We haven't done anything really that involves openings of the or waking up at the back of the leg. So you can bend one knee, bend the other knee, and just have some little sort of pumping motions that wake things up. And then come back into the center, stillness. Slowly bend the knees. Take your time, like make this a very slow bent knee that you're going to then come into child's pose. I mean, the tops of the feet, your arms can stay forward or they can move by your sides. Or you can actually make a pillow for your forehead with your hands. Inhale, coming up. Let's find that perfect position for the hands, perfect position for the feet. Take the hips back. Come into your cave of connection. So that's in your deep groin, tops of the legs, and also in the armpits here. Wide through the side ribs. Feel the hands soft but perfectly placed. And then start to slowly build this, building slowly, pushing the mat away with the heels of the palms, the toes and toe mounds. And then you're just in a position of down dog. Take your heels up high to the sky and then move them over to the right. And let's just feel kind of a banana of the spine. So we've got the shorter side here on the right, and then this longer side on the left. The hips are hanging over to the right. You have more weight into the right hand. The left hand is a little bit light, as that is with the curve, the biggest curve of the spine and the shoulders and the hips. Come back up with the heels to the sky, and then take them over to the left. The hips are to the left, hanging a bit, strong in the left hand, feeling the lightness of the right hand to some degree, and rounding in this convex way the right side of the ribs and hip and shoulder, coming back into the center. Bend the knees, take the knees a little bit wide, and then come down onto your elbows. Let your chest rest down in between your arms, and your bum's in the sky. And there's about a right angle here with the thighs, or perpendicular to the ground. And you can just be here in a kind of a restful waterfall. So you feel like the spine's like a waterfall coming out of the pelvis. Also, if it feels just right, you might take your chest to the ground, moving your armpits a bit wide to the sides, away from the spine. Head faces down or to one side. Breathing. And then come back into a wide knee child's pose. Make a pillow for your head. And inhale, coming up. Let's go one more time into downward facing dog. So perfect hands, heavy elbows, toes are tucked, wide through the side ribs. And then start to push the mat away with the heels of the palms and with the toes and toe mounds. Find that balance of energy and just let the hips come to the sky. Let's walk the feet towards the hands and have a nice bent kneed forward fold. Maybe the arms rest on the ground, or maybe you need to have your elbows on your knees. What's going to be the right shaping for you right now? Inhale, come up in your own way. Maybe you walk your hands up, or maybe you ragdoll to come back up. And when you do come up, just come into standing, bring your hands into your heart. Turn to face sideways on your mat, and let's just step our legs a little bit wide for pyramid. So we have the toes slightly turned in, the heels slightly wider, not a huge amount. Bring the hands at the hip crease, and we're just going to come forward and back a few times. So as we come forward, can we feel the muscles kind of engaging to slow us down, as well as you're feeling the muscles at the backs of the thighs and at the sitting bones slowing you down or metering you out? And then come back up, feeling the backs of the thighs and the sitting bones gathering together, and this opening. Feeling this start to gather together, the back of the thighs and the sitting bones. They're starting to meter you out, or allow like a little rope out at a time, slowing you down. And then they shorten to bring you back up. All right, one more time, and then we'll stay down. Feeling that we have the muscles in the fronts of the legs, and they gather us together, but they support. You feel the leg bones, and at the back that's opened up to some degree. Now where you come is going to be unique, and on every day I'll just show you what we're going to do. We're going to take my left hand, and I'm going to cup it around the outside of this foot. So out of the outside of the right foot, I'm going to cup it like that. Or if we can't reach that, if that doesn't make sense to you, then you're going to hold the calf, the outside of the calf, and you use your other hand to support that as you tug. And it's the same here. You use this other hand, this right hand, to hold the foot in place as you tug with this other hand. So let's just see what that looks like. Have a look at me first when I'm doing it. So if I'm here, I'm using my right hand onto my right ankle to stabilize, and I'm cupping my fingers around that, left fingers around the right foot, and then I'm tugging away, and I'm lengthening through this whole left side of my body. So it's this tugging And if it doesn't work there, then you do it here and you tug and move it's like you're moving the shoulders, trying to move them away, but you're trying to see if it's possible to feel some of that kind of tensioning through the side of the body on the left. So find your position and lengthen on the left side and breathing. Come into neutral. Take the other side. If it's the calf and you hold the hand there with your left hand holding the right, or you have it holding on the outside of your foot. And your left hand holds the ankle, the right hand holds and cups around the outside of that foot and tug and feel the tensioning on the right side of the body here, the right shoulder, arm, ribs, waist to the hip. And not tugging so hard that it hurts, but you just feel the tensioning. And then let's release that. Come down. Let's turn to face the front of our mat. Take that front foot back. For me, it's my left, and we'll come back into our down dog. Come back down into all fours. Now, this is where we might wish to have our blanket. Open it up so that you have it for your knees. Take the right knee forward. So just a right angle of this leg. We're not coming into a really deep into a deep lunge. So see if we can imagine keeping the pelvis stable and lift the left arm up and curve it over. So for me, I'm taking my right arm down, but you could also have it on the thigh. That might be more stabilizing. So see what feels appropriate. And then feel the lengthening from that left hip and the waist and the shoulder and the arm. From the ribs pulling you up and come back. Take the right knee back and let's take the left foot forward and come into our pause. Bring the right arm up, left arm down or on the thigh, and let's curve. So it's convex on the right, concave, or the smaller curve is on the left side. All the way. For me, I feel it all the way from the thigh to the hip to the waist. Ribs pull you up and come on out. So just have a moment. I'm just going to sit into Vajrasana, just an easy Vajrasana. Just have a moment. Just have a pause. If you want to put a block under your seat, you can have a block and elevate yourself so that it's even easier. So you just feel, notice through contrasts the body. What are those tissues telling you? What do they feel like? Okay, good. Let's move out of that transition into our last shaping that we'll do that will really help inform to the mind or to the body what it feels like to have the thoracic spine and the shoulder blade relationship. So I've got this rolled up over here. It's going to come across this across on my mat and rolling over. So is this a place where you have a block? I've often found that I haven't found that a block is great. Well, I use just my hand, but you could also obviously just slip one of those nice black blocks underneath your head. So I'm on a blanket. It's just kind of softening the curve a little bit. And then just bring your left arm up and over if it wants to come this way, or it could come forward and through and up. And just see about lengthening through the side and lengthening and draping. So how much of this is yielding on the bottom and how much of this is lengthening through the top? Just stay here and breathe for a few minutes. Take your arm out of the equation if something's starting to kind of flare up or show a yellow light that's suggesting a pause for you. Otherwise, just stay here for a little bit longer. Release the arm so it feels neutral, and then roll over a bit more to face forward to come on out of that. I'm going to switch my bolster to the other side to show this on the other side now. I'm still staying on a blanket height, bolsters across the mat, finding the support for your head. So you just get it to the just right position. I have mine fairly close to my armpit. So you just see what position is going to be the right place for you on your ribs where you can sustain this pose. Pausing with this right arm, moving overhead. Using your lower arm is also a nice way to accommodate the fact that there is movement that you reach when you're here for a while. There's more yielding, more trust, more space. And slowly neutralize that arm. Roll to face forward. Use your hands to support to come out. And now we'll just simply go into Shavasana, possibly leaving this bolster for your legs to relax. I think it's quite nice to come into a soft form of Baddha Konasana or butterfly so that the knees are a little bit wider and then coming down to the ground. Notice what you notice in breathing. What does the imprint of the body feel like on the ground now as you notice the downness of the body? You can decide to stay relaxed and soft in the body, or you can expand your inhales, your exhales, wanting the knees to come together and then bring them in towards the chest. Just let them be in the chest at a comfortable position towards the chest, easy heaviness in the body. And roll over and come up to be seated. Noticing what it feels like to be you now. What's your connection with the pervasive mind, that mind body? What does it feel like to breathe as you move and expand for inhales and settle for exhales? How easy is it for you to sit or to lay into the ground? Yoga Mudra to seal the practice. Namaste.